In retrospect, Operation Krabby Patty has received some mixed opinions. Some view it as a nostalgia powerhouse, while others view it as a terribly made game that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. As someone who grew up with it, I'd like to offer the perspective from someone who fell into its target demographic when it came out. In the beginning, we see SpongeBob dreaming about a series of topics that totally won't be relevant later. Just kidding, they're all scenes from the actual game. Once you wake up, you have the choice to wake up on the right side of bed or the wrong side. The stories are different, but the mini games are more or less the same. It's worth mentioning that AWE uses a lot of the same voice clips and music throughout all of their games. This is likely because of budget restrictions, but since this is the first game of theirs, they can get away with it because it's the first game to use any of these sounds. Personally, I don't mind hearing the same music used across multiple titles. Some of it is awesome.
Bruh. Chill. I'm on Facebook Weekly. This is my destiny. Not for long. Check this out. For is what does that
From the
say?
next menu, you can select the stage you want to play.
Flurry of
So
snow.
you really don't have much of a choice
What
in this
is
menu.
it?
On the right side,
I
you can
can't
slowly but
pronounce
surely
that.
summons these
I don't
ant
know.
creatures to do his bidding. I guess they're the same size as plankton, so it makes sense in some way, but it's a little hard to take in because, well, who are these things?
For is in I don't pronounce
The
that.
opening cutscene has some
What does that
decently
say? For uh, is is I nah? What is that?
Plankton unveils a robot replica of Mr. Krabs that serves as a prime antagonist in the game. There's also a Star Wars parody, I think. It doesn't really fit with the scene, but they get props for trying. Though the fourth wall break right after it is kind of funny. So Robo Krabs is controlled by the ants, and it goes out to find Krabby Patty ingredients. The first mission is called Invasion of the Patty Snatchers, obviously a parody of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. AWE sure loves their references. However, this mission doesn't make any sense. Other ants are carrying the ingredients, and you have to steal them away from them. Shouldn't you be working together? This is actually because the wrong side mission has the same premise, but with SpongeBob as the player character. It makes sense for the ants to be antagonizing him, but here it just doesn't translate well. They could have reskinned the ants to be something else at the very least. You can find things throughout the stage to help you out while you're trying to assemble Krabby Patties. These things can be real lifesavers from that accursed time limit. They're the same in every stage. A kelp bar that gives you points, a clock that freezes time, and a map that shows you where everything is. Some things can also hurt you, incurring a penalty. Needless to say, the missions in this game are a little repetitive. You have to beat each mission 3 times, then play a bonus. That the green SpongeBob had in the beginning. does appears on some women, which seems a little out of character. SpongeBob wakes him up and says he's going to tell Mr. Krabs about the stolen patties, but Mr. Krabs is away on an inconveniently timed treasure hunt, and SpongeBob needs to drive to him. It's not like he can take a bus or get a ride from someone else in this dire emergency. The next mission, Boating School 101, makes you have to drive to different checkpoints throughout a map. If you drive to the wrong one, you get a penalty. Don't hit pedestrians either, but I'm not sure why these idiots are walking in the middle of the driving course to begin with. Sometimes the checkpoints spawn in places where the obstacles are nearly impossible to avoid, giving you no choice but to take a penalty. After SpongeBob gets a learner's permit, he meets Patrick, but the wind blows his permit away and a clam eats it. Now you may be wondering, what was the point of the driving stage if you just lose your permit after it anyway? That's easy, yeah, you're very right, Uncle Pat. SpongeBob and Patrick come across fishing boats like in the Hooky episode, and I like this addition a lot, actually. It gives an element to the show we don't see depicted very often. Our heroes think this array of hooks is a carnival, so they go to play in it. This begins the mission, Who Cut the Cheese? If you're wondering why it's called that, it's because you're trying to collect cheese from the hooks without being told up. At the start of the stage, you play as Patrick and you have to find a hook without cheese. You then have to play as SpongeBob and collect a certain amount of cheese before Patrick reaches the surface. Then the two switch places. This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like with the boating mission, this really doesn't add much to the story, but SpongeBob hitches a ride with a jellyfish who flies over to Sandy in Jellyfish Field. Apparently, she's been waiting for him because they plan to go jellyfishing together. Now, it's important for me to point something out. I don't recall Sandy being particularly partial to
Bruh.
jellyfishing in the show, but in both this game and Employee of the Month, her whole introduction into the game is through jellyfishing. Did AWE think Sandy was a big jellyfisher or something? For this next mission, you play as SpongeBob and Sandy, and you have to catch jellyfish with Sandy's ray gun from the episode Sandy's Rocket. I really have to commend this game for using actual components of the show, even if they aren't important to the overall story. This is actually a fun and creative mission, but oh my gosh, what the hell is that thing? That's horrifying. I know it was from the show, but it's still horrifying. This mission can get really annoying when you have to keep reloading after every 6 shots. You go behind Hideout Rock to switch characters, but if the colored jellyfish you need spawns on the other side of the map from it, you're doomed. Don't even bother trying to catch the demon jellyfish. It uses up too much time and ammo without providing any satisfactory gain. All of a sudden, a jellyfish flies into SpongeBob's net and launches him all the way to the location where Mr. Krabs happens to be. How convenient. Mr. Krabs is looking for treasure on a big pirate ship, which may be a reference to the episode.
Damn.
All of a sudden, the Flying Dutchman appears and tries to steal Mr. Krabs' treasure.
That was a
I
good
will admit,
match.
both this game and Employee of the Month have an issue with shoehorning the Flying Dutchman into the plot without much explanation. When I reached this stage as a kid, the game actually crashed, and this particular stage wouldn't load for the longest time. I'm not sure why, but this level on the right side in particular just wouldn't start. Probably a bug in the programming or something. Basically, you collect bubbles and try to blow them around the Flying Dutchman's crewmates by shooting them through cannons. I'd say it's the most creative stage yet. The Flying Dutchman shows up every so often, but he's not really a threat. All that being said, this mission isn't great. You can't catch the pirates until they actually take the gold, so you spend most of the stage just waiting for something to happen. Also, why is Mr. Krabs so big? When you complete the mission, SpongeBob tells Mr. Krabs about Plankton, and Plankton overhears this through a camera and Robo-Krabs. He orders Robo-Krabs to attack, but instead hits them with Krabs. Okay, well, that was a lot, but there's still the wrong side of the bed. I won't spend too much time talking about this since it's mostly the same as the right side, but I will go wrong side. SpongeBob wakes up one day to find his pet snail Gary is not by his bed. Instead, there's a voice recorder that can talk even if it hasn't been activated. The logic isn't really explained. It's also Plankton's voice on the other end. He tells SpongeBob Gary is somewhere in Bikini Bottom and he needs to get a learner's permit to unlock the next clue to find out where the snail is. They try to incorporate humor into this scene, but it's just not as funny as the right side had planned. School 101 and get your learner's permit. Plankton then asks you to be a jellyfish buddy, so SpongeBob goes to meet Patrick for the jellyfishing mission. In a way, this format works a little better for executing these mini-games than the right side. By having them be missions SpongeBob needs to complete for a greater task, they aren't just thrown into the story without rhyme or reason. It's never explained why Plankton needs these various items, but at least there's somewhat of a reason for tracking them down. After you get the jellyfish jelly, it turns out Patrick ate the tape recorder, so you listen to the next recording through his belly. Plankton then sends you to bring him a Krabby Patty. There's also this running joke where he keeps trying to have the tape recorder self-destruct, but it just isn't working out for him. To be honest, it is kind of funny. We then get an extremely dark joke.
Welcome to the Krabby Krab.
Oops. I really don't know what to say about that. Here's where the story gets a little weird. Plankton hires the ants to steal Krabby Patties for him. At the same time, SpongeBob is going out to get Krabby Patties, so he just takes them from the ants. I also found a bug. Love it. Thanks to a miscommunication with Plankton, the ants bring the Krabby Patties to SpongeBob's place. There's also a FedEx parody. SpongeBob gets the next tape recorder and it tells him to get some cheese. He meets up with Squidward, who... Okay. SpongeBob convinces Squidward to help him collect cheese, leading to the Who Cut the Cheese mission. I love that too. Plankton also gets this subplot where he does a psychiatric evaluation, but it doesn't really go anywhere. His final request for SpongeBob is for the sponge to bring him $100, but SpongeBob is not sure how to get this money.
Prepare the bubble cannon, SpongeBob. Get after me, money.
I'm not joking. That's literally how they transition you into the final stage. At this point, they probably just didn't want to bother with a story explanation anymore. The cutscene doesn't give you any explanation as to what's going on, so unless you played the right side before this, you'll be very lost. You play the Save Me Money mission again, and then you win. It all proves to be meaningless anyway, because Gary just climbs out the chum bucket window and meets up with you. Also, Plankton's self-destruct button finally works after he manages to get the Krabby Patties. There's one last thing worth mentioning. The post-credits sequence shows a character playing as themselves in the game. It's supposed to be a joke, but I think this is actually the link between this game and Employee of the Month. Hear me out. Look at the location Squidward is in. Then look at the location in the beginning of Employee of the Month. It's the same set. Operation Krabby Patty is a video game in the universe Employee of the Month takes place in. It all makes sense now. When SpongeBob said Operation Krabby Patty was his very first game, he wasn't breaking the fourth wall. He actually had a video game made about him. In this universe, it wouldn't be wrong for him to say Operation Krabby Patty was his first game because it actually was. Either that or I'm just looking too deeply into it. Draw your own conclusions. So that was Operation Krabby Patty. What do we think about it? Well, it's a game. Let's start with some of my core criticisms. The right side storyline seems a little haphazardly thrown together. I think they planned the wrong side first, then they tried to reuse all the same missions in a narrative that didn't flow as well. The games themselves could have also used some tweaking here and there. The timers can be a real pain to deal with, and annoying elements like having to reload or wait for the pirates to take the treasure can hamper the enjoyment of a few levels. We also have weird cutscenes like this one.
Hey, why do you sound like Willie the Anchovy?
It's really...
Huh? No, I'm really confused. You look like Willie, but sound like Squidward.
Oh, I guess surrounded by such losers.
On a more positive note, even though I criticize some of the story elements and the repetition, I like the game's humor and how it uses different components of the show. Throughout all of their games, it's easy to see that the folks at AWE really knew the material they were working with. Still, this has a lot of first game energy, if you know what I mean. To offer my perspective from childhood, I had almost all of the AWE SpongeBob games growing up. Out of the ones I owned, this one was easily my least favorite. I just found more variety in the movie, Lights, Camera, Pants, Battle for Bikini Bottom, and even Employee of the Month.
A lot of the criticisms I have nowadays are the same ones I had as a child, too. I also found it a little too challenging. While the mini-games might be easy for an adult, I really struggled with some of these as a kid. I think it's important to note that this is a mini-game game above all else. One could argue it laid the foundation for what would become the console version of Lights Camera Pants. The story wasn't the biggest concern of the developers, and they clearly weren't banking on the audience caring too much about it. It's just meant to be a series of little games you can play with the SpongeBob characters, and since many people still look at this game with such fondness, I'd say it succeeded. It's still a crucial part of SpongeBob history, and it's very important to a lot of people. If someone told me this was their favorite SpongeBob game, I'd be happy for them. I'd be happy an AWE SpongeBob game got some degree of recognition because this company deserves all the appreciation it can get. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next memory.
You only have so much time, so pick a science diet with our
With a series as massive as SpongeBob SquarePants, it's hard for anything relating to it to fall into obscurity. Even still, the SpongeBob PC games managed to slip under many people's radar. To this day, only a good few people who grew up with them are actually familiar with these titles. While there are a great many, let's focus on the first SpongeBob point-and-click game of AWE games and published by PS5. This is SpongeBob SquarePants Employee of the Month. Like most other SpongeBob PC games, Employee of the Month was its own original story, not based on a movie or another video game. This is ironic, given the fact that it shares a name with a pretty famous episode. This great childhood relic tells the story of SpongeBob receiving tickets to the theme park Neptune's Paradise as a reward for being Employee of the Year. Yeah, I know, the title lied to us. However, he and Patrick's journey to the Land of Wonders is met by many roadblocks and conflicts they must overcome to reach their destination. Will SpongeBob ever make it to the theme park to have the time of his life? Let's find out. Before we get to it, it's worth mentioning that many AWE games, including this one, have a hard time fully rendering on modern computers. Textures such as the white color don't always load, so it can make the games look kinda terrifying. Because of this, I'd like to thank AAWW1010 for providing the footage for this video. I've linked their channel in the description. The game kicks off with a comical intro showing the characters posing for the logo in a set resembling SpongeBob's room. This is a nice little fourth wall break, but it's never entirely explained why they're all there or what exactly they're filming.
wait! Don't you want to see my
Nothing like Sandy moonwalking while Plankton flies away saying something completely unrelated. Either way, Mr. Krabs receives mail right there on the set, and Squidward overhears that he's received 2 free tickets to Neptune's Paradise. Being the kind and generous neighbor that he is, in a strange act of kindness for the character, Squidward suggests Mr. Krabs give the tickets to SpongeBob for being Employee of the Year. Mr. Krabs does exactly that, and SpongeBob decides to give his other ticket to Patrick. Now they're ready to set off on a grand adventure to see the Land of Wonders that awaits them. Only one problem. They have no idea how to get there. Clearly this game came out before the internet and cell phones were as widely used as they are today. In the first stage, we see SpongeBob going to the Krusty Krab to ask for directions. This is where we get our first look at how the game looks and how the music sounds.
Oops, I hope no one hears that.
It contains a mix of music from both the show and original music, but the original music is mostly borrowed from AWE's previous game, Operation Krabby Patty. This would start a trend for the rest of their series. The graphics being a blend of 2D and 3D would also be a trend throughout the series, and I really like the way it looks. It comes across as natural and not too jarring to see. To get through the Krusty Krab, you need to gather ingredients to make a sandwich for this random fish. Whoa, SpongeBob. Care to explain this? Both you and Plankton need to sort yourselves out.
Yes. This means...
Next, you head to the bus stop where you find Patrick with a sweet camera he won in a bikini contest.
Patrick, you won a bikini contest?
Well, I was the only male contestant, but the judge...
Let's step into a time machine and go all the way back to 2004. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie is coming out, and you
feel like playing some games based on one of your favorite Nickelodeon cartoons. Sure, we have the console games like the movie and Battle for Bikini Bottom, but let's dive a little deeper. We have the AWE PC games, some of my personal favorites, but let's keep looking. How about this? This was a lot of fun. But nah, if you're looking for something free and accessible as long as you have internet connection, there's no better place to look than Nick.com. By this point in time, the SpongeBob Flash games that were kicked off by Smashing Ideas in 1999 were beginning to come out more frequently. Sarbakken shook things up with SpongeBob's Pizza Toss in 2003, a SpongeBob version of Paperboy that became really popular. It spawned a few different versions, including one that was part of Nickelodeon's Nick Arcade lineup. The Nick Arcade was also home to an abundance of 3D platformers, including Obstacle Odyssey and the 3D Groove ones. But going into 2004, amidst the many games made to help advertise the movie, Sarbakken put out its next big hit with BC Bowling. And before we move on, if you're new here, hi, I'm Lucy.
Safe freeway. This driver's doing good. He's not crowding the other one. Oh, we got a blinker. Oh, this is perfect.